Oh boy, what's that in the sky? Hello. Welcome, one possibly final time, to Dread Delusion. I say possibly because I have reached a decision which I will reiterate at the end for everyone who joins later. I think I want to finish up Endless Realm now, and possibly also the Ghost Quest, and then I figure I leave it up to whoever, I leave it up to you to see the rest of the game rather than spoil the whole thing, because part of it was to show it off and pique people's interest, because I really like the game. Hello, Roback. Even though it's 3 a.m., this stream won't be hidden from me. Well, I certainly would hope it wouldn't be hidden from you. That's on YouTube. That's not on the time, if it's actually hidden. The Endless sweeps the ground with his rake, though he just seems to be moving around the dirt. As you approach, he looks startled. Ah, Breather, didn't notice you there. Not often I see your kind around. Who are you? Who am I? Well, that's a good question. I've been wondering myself lately. I seem to have forgotten my name a few decades back. Was it Yem? Or Gluppus, perhaps? Oh, I hope it's Gluppus. That's all a jumble. Anyways, I'm the groundskeeper for the Duchess. At least I think I am. Not seen the girl for a good century or so, and I'm starting to wonder if I made the whole thing up. Can I visit the Duchess? You can sure try. Her family manor is over yonder, but it's mostly just a ruin now. She's hidden the entrance with a spell. You'll have to figure out how to get across somehow. She's also enchanted a bunch of skeletons to patrol the place, so watch your step. They can't really think, it's just a spell holding them together, so they won't hesitate to swipe at you. Thanks, I'll be going. Good to know there is a distinction between undead who are still sapient and those who are not. I'm just really upset at missing live Mr. Bonesaw mention. I don't know what you're referencing, Roback. The only thing that comes to mind is Raimi Spider-Man, the Bonesaw. Maybe I'm just forgetting. So anyway, quick recap on this game. Still traveling around this archipelago looking for Vela Colos's... looking for Vela Colos's old crewmates. And now we're in the realm of the undead looking for the Duchess. And we did a bunch of stuff for the Endless Realm already, such as stopping the ghost of their queen, because ghosts don't have to be... Ghosts can be separate entities. Oh, okay. Rollback. You're talking about the Saudi Crown Prince. Okay. Okay, yeah, no, because we briefly mentioned that in the Jade Empire stream. Okay, got it. Dang. I didn't realize you were such a fan, Roback. What was I gonna say? Yeah, so, helped the Endless Realm people with some trouble with an earthquake, and then some trouble with their lab-grown meat. Their flesh meat. And now it's time to actually find the Duchess herself. And I vaguely remember what the deal is. Or, I mean, I remember what her deal is. I vaguely remember how to find her. Pretty sure we gotta turn all these on. Hey there, what's going on? Okay. There we go. Fine ore. Let's see. Actually surprised there isn't a thing on here. One of the little pyramids. Do I need a potion of truth sight? Or truth potion? I think I might. We'll see. I think I'm just not finding all of them. There's probably one more. Okay, yeah. I think... Well, let's see. Let's try it. I think I got a few to spare. Yeah, alright. Oh. Okay. I have not done it all yet. I don't think. Is there another one? No, that's not. That's something completely different. There is a very extended quest in a crystal mine in this section that I think I'm gonna skip over. It's pretty cool quest though. Let's see. Yeah, Roebuck, I am familiar with that nickname. My mind just didn't go to it. Let's see. No, there's... There's gotta be at least one more of these. There it is. Yeah, there it is. Okay. Silly me. I was thinking the other day, like, how long have we had the whole, like, you know, mocap for video games causes the uncanny valley thing? 'Cause I feel like that's been a really long... Oh man, that... Yeah, really tough shield. I feel like it's been a really long-running issue for... at least, like, performance capture stuff. I feel like it's probably... Is it L.A. Noire that really sort of kicked that off? There's got to be more... Oh, yeah, something has changed. There we go. There's got to be more stuff. More, like, earlier games that do, like, facial mocap. Actually, yeah, no, that's part of what Half-Life 2's innovation was, wasn't it? Or at the very least, really advanced facial animations. Maybe not necessarily mocap. But... in my sort of off-the-top-of-my-head mind for gaming history, I feel like L.A. Noire was one of the first major ones that actually extensively used like performance capture, like facial animation stuff, and made that a prominent part of their marketing. Okay, yeah, I know what that is. Anything else before I talk to you? Hanging in the gloom, the Endless Woman is engrossed in ritual. She hisses violent, unfamiliar words while her hands trace sparks of light through the air, illuminating the books and the dust around her. Hello? The woman seems oblivious to your presence, her face inscrutable behind her mask. She continues to mutter esoteric phrases while sculpting glyphs of light. You're, clearly busy, but... She screams, her voice seething with a wave of magical energy that sends the books crashing to the floor. Do you know how difficult it is to weave parallel cipher syntax while some idiot is talking in your ear? She groans in frustration. I'm sorry. I'm in the middle of a family crisis, and you caught me trying to conjugate a pair of superlatives. Sometimes I just hate cipher semiotics. Well, I suppose if you bypassed my security measures, you must have come here for a reason. She studies you for a moment. You're not a cadaver assassin, are you? Sent by that infernal rider to try to lop off my head or some such? No, I'm not an assassin. We can lie and just say, yes, we are an assassin. Why not? Why not? Piss her off immediately. Uncanny Valley is something I'm only ever told by others since I just don't register how people are supposed to look like. It is, to be fair, subjective to what degree the Uncanny Valley really is noticeable or really matters. But, and also, I think, to some extent, the Uncanny Valley becomes more so as time goes on and technology improves. Because I feel like, for example, like Heavy Rain, I feel like a lot of praise at the time was how realistic it looked and stuff like that, and obviously graphics have aged since then. She studies you a moment. Well, that's exactly what an assassin would say. I have to be sure. I'm just going to have a poke around in your mind. You may feel some tingling in your brain, but don't worry, this rarely leads to permanent damage. Did you say A pain slices through your head, followed by a plethora of discomforting feelings. Your senses are jumbled. You hear smells, taste sights, breathe sounds. Everything warps, and you feel nauseous. Awesome. Instant synesthesia. But then you feel yourself cowering in the filth of an alleyway, small and frightened. A man leers over you, raising his sword. You have but a moment to clasp the shard of broken glass and lunge at his belly. Yes, you remember, you were 6 years young, just another worthless urchin in the city sprawl. The things you did to survive. That definitely changes based on the backstory we select at the beginning. Her voice cuts through your dream. You've had a rough life, mortal. I'm sorry. But this isn't enough. I need more. Another wave of nausea. Reality churns around you until you wake in an Inquisition prison cell, the smell of rust and shit filling your nostrils. So that's it, eh? You're with those Inquisition bastards. But you're not a player, just some pawn in their scheming, blackmailed with the threat of oblivion. How pitiful. I wonder if I'm actually going to have lost health when we end the conversation. Once more you're submerged in memory. You see Vela's ship drifting away from you, and with it your only hope of salvation. Ah, so it's Vela you're after. I sailed with her for 10 years, even called myself a Dark Star. But I assume you knew that. Basalt sent me. Ah, so that old sea slug's still with us. I must admit I always thought the drink would kill him. But to hear he's working with the Inquisition after all we've been through... Well, this only deepens my suspicions. So tell me, do you kill for your masters? Do you take the lives of others to preserve your own? Yeah, so this actually, I believe the game checks your, the kill count stat you have. And I don't know what I've... Only in self-defense do I draw my sword. Let's see what she says about that. Oh, how noble! How valiant! I'm humbled by your chivalry, etc. But let's see the truth, shall we? Your mind reels once more. You see the men and monsters who've stood in your way, and how you've clashed swords, evaded their blows, buried your steel into their flesh. You remember the chaos, the thrill, the bloodlust. The truth is, you enjoy it. Again, I assume that changes if your kill count is low enough. She seems taken aback. Mortal, you're a monster. The blood that you've spilled, nobody could ever atone for such wanton violence. Though I suppose I have no right to judge you. My conscience is hardly clear. Well, after scraping through your skull,
Seems there's nothing to suggest you're after my head.
She sighs.
I'll spare you the torment of further mind probes, mortal. Any more and your brain could burst, and I don't want to clean that up. But where are my manners? We've learned all about you, but I've not introduced myself.
She feigns a pompous bow.
The Duchess, at your service. Well, really, I am Philomena Caveridge, Duchess of Vestalshire, but that's quite the mouthful, eh?
I can't hear Philomena and not think of Philomena Kunk. Wonder if that's a deliberate reference, actually, because I know the lead is in fact British. I don't know how popular Kunk is in Britain, but I would assume at least decently.
If you'd arrived about 6 centuries ago, I would have greeted you into a bustling household, alive with music and merriment. My servants would have offered refreshment. I would have introduced you to my 5 darling children.
She chuckles wearily.
How is it that 600 years can pass so quickly? Now I drift in this cold tomb while my estate lies in decay.
Sounds like you miss your former life.
There's not an endless around who doesn't, but for most of us it's hard to think of our mortal lives without opening the door to our demons. You see, I became Duchess the day my father died, in the Great Devouring. Do you know what that was?
Yes.
Then you will know it is the darkest stain on my people's history.
Maybe I should have said no just for the exposition reminder, but yeah, the day of the day of devouring is when the endless actually became zombies and started feasting on mortal flesh. Which, I mean, as she says,
the endless were born with an insatiable hunger. For decades we feasted upon those we once called kin.
I believe it was the king, the father of the current queen, wanting to live forever is what caused it.
And my family was no different. I was 35 years of age when it happened. I had a husband, 5 beautiful children. You know the cruelest thing? There was a part of us that knew what was happening. As I tore into my husband's flesh, I howled not in anger, but in sorrow. As my daughter gorged upon the bowels of her brother, I saw the tears streaming down her face. And as I picked up my infant son, not 3 months old, I wanted to hold him, to kiss him. I never meant to.
Her voice croaks and she is silent a moment. You're a monster.
I won't deny it. To be endless is to live with a terrible guilt. It is the same for all of us. But while most find comfort in the rituals and traditions of old, I find them suffocating.
She chuckles.
But there I go again, dredging up the past. I think it's why I stopped getting invited to all those mausoleum balls. So tell me, mortal, this hunt for Vela, what do you hope to accomplish?
Can't you read my mind?
Well, of course I could, but it's terribly impolite. And now that I know you're not after my head, you can lie all you wish. It bothers me not.
She dies, I get my freedom. Simple as.
Self-preservation. No truer motivation than that. But still, when the time comes, you may have a choice to make. I wonder, do you understand what's truly at stake? There is a hidden language to the universe, mortal, a web of signs and signifiers which establish the very rules by which we live. And Vela, she wants to change it. She wants to change reality itself, to create a new world.
How would that work?
When we cast a cipher spell, we are speaking in the hidden language of the universe. But the rules, the grammar, the syntax, the signs themselves, all of us, from the humble scribe to the powerful cipher wizard, must adhere to these constraints. When we don't, there are often dire consequences.
Like the world rend. She nods.
I don't know for sure what happened back then, but I witnessed it with my own eyes, felt it in my mind. It was the most powerful spell I have witnessed, and it was caught in a syntax cascade. an infinite loop.
Again, reminder that the Endless have became endless before the world rend happened, so they would have actually seen or lived through it.
But if Vela's plan works, she'd make the impossible possible. With a click of a finger, she could raise an empire, make anyone truly immortal, even raise someone from the dead.
Sounds incredible.
Indeed. I have often weighed this dilemma in my mind. Would it be for good or for ill? My people live in torment. Our decaying bodies and haunted minds are prisons from which there is no escape. But could Vela's plan be our salvation, or would it subject the whole world to a similar torment? I haven't yet made up my mind, but if I'm honest, I would like to be there when the decision is made.
Then help me find Vela.
Alas, I'm somewhat engaged for the moment. I think I mentioned a family crisis. My daughter has been stolen from me.
She closes her eyes.
Her name is Ellen. Of all my children, she alone remains. I can still see her, 9 years young, holding my hand in the lush grass of Verdant. Everyone in the village knew that beaming smile. She is 9 years old still, and the feeling of her hand in my own is all that keeps me clinging to this wretched existence. And now those damned cadavers have taken her.
I could try and rescue your daughter.
You would, mortal? If you were to save her, I would truly be in your debt. The cadavers are a secretive bunch, but I've caught wind that one of them frequents the rotten coffin in Sepulchre. He wears a full suit of armor and holds a key that will grant access to the upper levels of Cadaver Keep. He surely won't speak to me nor my lackeys, but you're an outsider. More than that, you're a mortal, and cadavers are very interested in mortals.
Wait, why are they interested in mortals?
Oh, did I forget to mention? While most of the Endless eat from penitent Thaw's mindless flesh farms, the cadavers still believe it's their right to feast upon sentient flesh, like you. But don't worry. I'm sure you'll be fine. My daughter has a signet ring on her finger. Find her, and I'll help you track down Vela. You have my word.
Well, that's that. I don't know how much of a strain on my voice it's gonna be to do her voice. It's not that bad so far. Probably only gonna speak to her 1 or 2 more times anyway, but at least for this stream, I mean. Yeah, let's just warp. You're upstairs, aren't you? Indeed. Do I have my gnome hat on for maximum persuasion? Perfect. Sure do. The Endless lurks in the corner, keeping a watchful eye on the other patrons. Get lost, Breather. You're not interested in what I'm selling. Maybe I am interested in what you're selling. He studies you a moment. Well, well. A mortal with a deviant appetite? Alright, listen up, because I'll only say this once. If you breathe a word of this to any of the Queen's lackeys, I'll see to it that you're next on the menu. So, I'm a broker for sentient flesh, the thinkin' stuff. You see, most Endless feed on penitent Thaw's mindless meat. It's seen as more ethical than eating your kind, but I'll be damned if it doesn't taste like slop, so of course, there's a black market for the stuff. So how about it, Breather? Fancy a taste of your own kind? Actually, I've changed my mind. He chuckles. Thought as much. But remember, Breather, you say anything about this, and it'll be the last thing you say. I'm looking to enter Cadaver Keep. Heard I should speak to you. He stifles a laugh. A mortal asking to enter Cadaver Keep of their own free will? Well, now I've seen it all. You have heard the rumors, Breather, about what goes on there? What goes on with your kind? I mean, you did just basically tell me, of course. Even so, I can't just let you waltz into Cadaver Keep. Us cadavers are a private bunch, you have to understand. There must be something I can do to change your mind. He looks you up and down. Well, I suppose there might be one thing. A chunk of your flesh, still warm, fresh from the bone. That would prove your loyalty. What part of my flesh? Only a morsel, shall we say a finger? I don't know if my mic picked up me licking my lips very loudly. I tried to make sure it was a nice wet smack. Okay, fine, I'll make it quick. Or, you make it quick. He unsheathes a very large knife. Oh, don't worry, it'll be over before you know it. Now hold out your hand. With one quick motion, he slices off your finger. Your hand sears with pain, but he quickly douses the stub with a foul-smelling potion and wraps your hand in a rag. This'll fetch a good price for the right buyer. You've proven your worth and then some, Breather. Here, take this key. It will unlock the lift at the top of Cadaver Keep. That'll take you to the island above. It's there you'll find the Duchess's daughter. I never told you I was looking for her daughter. He grins. We have eyes and ears in many places, Breather. Of course, that key does not grant safe passage through the keep. That's not part of the deal. The second you step into that stronghold, you're on your own. So good luck, Breather. I'll be going. I know where it is. So the Cadavers are the faction that Ryder is a part of. So if we had helped him with the flesh farm thing, and maybe also helped with, I don't know, though, because he thinks it's the old king who was making the earthquakes to, like, restart the Cadaver Crusades. But it was actually the ghost of the queen who wanted to destroy everyone. So I don't know if that necessarily squares with helping her, meaning the cadavers like me, but I guess it must. I'm not sure why, but, oh boy. Already, huh? Yeah, you are entering the domain of the cadavers. Only those loyal to our cause will be granted entry to Cadaver Keep. What was I saying? Yeah, I didn't expect this music to start so early. What was I saying before that? Whatever. Oh yeah, no, so the rider is the cadaver, so we, or with the cadavers, so we could have, or I could have, ingratiated myself to them earlier, and then they'd probably let me through, no issue, but, they are evil, so. This statue ends in memoriam to all the Endless who lost their lives in the Cadaver Crusades. All creatures are permitted to follow their nature, be they predator or prey. None should feel shame for their instincts. Yeah, they, very much want to continue to eat mortals. Hi. Oh, okay. No, thank you. Hi there. The Endless is cleaning a handful of teeth with a dirty rag. How's it going, Breather? What are you doing with those teeth? The man picks up the teeth one by one and slots them into his gums with a squelch. Sorry, Breather, I was cleaning my teeth. He smiles at you. Despite his efforts, his teeth don't look very clean. And not often we get one of your kind snooping around Cadaver Keep. What can I do you for? Can you lower the drawbridge for me? He shifts, suddenly nervous. Why do you be looking to go in there, Breather? Nothing for mortals behind that drawbridge, I assure you. You think just because I'm mortal I can't share your interests? The Endless eyes you up and down. Well, I'll be a mortal with deviant tastes. Now I've seen it all. Very well, we've no reason to turn away your coin. I'll call for him to lower the bridge. Call with what? I guess he just yells very loudly. In your search for the Duchess's daughter, you've arrived at Cadaver Keep on the northern tip of the Endless Realm. The key you obtain should activate an elevator somewhere, taking you to the island where the daughter is being held. We are very much in enemy territory right now. the Duchess thing about, you know, how many people you killed, because you can, by this point, it should be entirely possible to have made it all the way here without killing anybody, but it's very it's kind of what what's his name? What's his face? From MGS3, from Metal Gear Solid 3, the Sorrow, I think, who's like, here's the ghosts of all the people you've killed, but then if you haven't killed anyone, then it's just like, he's like impressed, I think. I've yet to actually play that series. It's on my list, but, and they have the PC ports of everything. But I've been somewhat... I haven't pulled the trigger on actually buying them yet, just because I've heard there's port issues, apparently. But yeah, this is, you still have to kill the bosses in Metal Gear. You mean, right? Because yeah, this game doesn't really have those. Oh, there are bosses actually, but none that we've encountered yet. Okay, where is this? Oh, okay. Right. Shit. Okay. Yeah, so this is like below. Is below where the entrance to the keep. Let's see, where's the last? Here we go. All right. More ore. More ore and more gore. Delightful. Okay, yeah, so where does this lead out of? Okay. Yeah, okay, yeah, because, I mean, part of the reason why that's there is because it is entirely possible to just, like, wander over to this area. To wander over to Cadaver Keep and start exploring it before you have the quest and before you have the key, so that's just an easy way to get the key. Oh, that was a guy. Just an easy way to get the key, and then be able to quickly return here. Interesting that the music shifted, because we're still in the thick of it. Also interesting, because Lord Ryder, I believe, is the leader of the cadavers, but he stays at his house and does not go here. Character being that heavily defined by number of kills and being called a monster seems a bit aggressive. Yeah, it's probably not as elegantly done as other games that do this sort of thing. How many kills do we have, though? Well, because it doesn't... I don't think it tracks number of kills. Yeah, player kills 147. To be fair, that's a lot of fucking kills. But that includes, like, spiders and spider tanks, or spider trains, and, you know, other non-sapient enemies. So, yeah. The hand of an Endless lies upon the pillow, completely severed from above the wrist. The hand bears a signet ring on one slender finger. There's no mistaking it. This is the hand of the Duchess's daughter, Ellen. Take the hand. As you touch the hand, it suddenly recoils, as if alive. For a moment you pause, and the hand shivers before you. When you finally pluck up the courage to pick it up, It writhes as you place it in your belongings. Yeah, there's no, like, big boss of the cadavers that you fight here. They're just around. Alright. That was actually easier. That's pretty easy if you know how to make a beeline for it. The keep itself is much bigger. Much more to explore, so, well, let's explore a bit. No need to hurt me. I'm just running around. Oh, there we go. There it goes again. This track is pretty interesting just because it's so much, you know, it's like the one, like, ominous track that plays for most of the game. I mean, some of the other zones have their own stuff, especially, like, you know, endgame. The issue I have isn't necessarily that Duchess called you that, but that narration makes claims about your character's feelings without possibility to defend your actions. Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely not the ideal way to do something like that. That's very fair. Because, I mean, yeah, literally, I told her I do it in self-defense, and then the game is like, you liked it, though. I think that's just sort of an automatic, it's like an automatic assumption about just, you know, video game combat. The brutish endless blinks at you. Stop right there. I'm not allowed to let anyone down into meat processing, and I'm not allowed to tell anyone it's called meat processing. You're doing a real good job there. The endless grins, shamelessly. I'd like to enter the door, please. The brute shakes his head. Nuh-uh. Only meat is allowed down there. I am the meat. Look at me. Nice and fleshy. Never met such friendly meat before, but okay then, you can go down. Thank you. I'm sure this won't be horrifying at all. Let's see, are you hostile? You are. Call that the Oblivion Shuffle. The advance, back up, advance, back up. It's a lot of fine ore. I'm actually surprised there aren't more unique items in this fortress. Maybe there are, and I'm just missing them. Alright. I guess it's not that much bigger. Well. Nice place you guys got there. It is odd to define the player character, like, in that specific area. in a game that otherwise gives us so much room to self-define that we don't even have a visible body. Okay. All is well, all is well. No need to keep attacking me. I only killed one of you. Ah. Well, didn't even need it. But the save zone there. I have yet to actually die in this playthrough, which is fun. It's actually an achievement for that, if you complete the whole game without dying. Because, if you die, you end up being revived by, the game does not have, like, game overs in the sense of, you, like, you have to reload a save. You actually, like, there's in-universe revival that happens from a minor god figure. Okay, I do have one. Alright. Oh, no, I don't have one. And he's like, alright, you owe me. Which, obviously, you're like, I don't know if I want to owe you, but there's nothing to be done. Sorry, wait, hold on. When did my... Oh, okay. I was like, when did my lockpicking go down? Because the lockpicking buff that I got went away. Obviously. Okay. You know, last time, you know, the only options for the flesh farm was, you know, let the cadavers basically, you know, restart their crusade to not eat the vat-grown meat there, or kill the sapient meat creature. I wonder if the options surely completely change if you don't tell what's-his-face about the fact that the meat is sapient. Surely. But because this game only does one single autosave, can't go back and check, so someone else ends up doing that. I would love to know. What was I doing? Okay, yes. Back to the Duchess is what I was doing. You guys cool? Cool. Alright. I was already there, I guess. Shoot. You're completely turn. Okay, this way. Direction of the mollusk. Easy enough to remember. Duchess! She should really have, like, a doorbell. You know, so she can, like, warp down to greet visitors. Not that she would. I feel like she's not the sort of person who would do that anyway. But, you know, maybe she is the sort of person who would put in a doorbell to give visitors false hope. Make them think that she would come down, but instead make them take that whole journey. Our hood's down.
Greetings, mortal. How do you fare?
About your daughter.
Did you find her, mortal? I must admit I have been watching your progress with interest.
With a flick of her wrist, she creates a small, shimmering mirror that seems to show you entering Cadaver Keep.
But my voyeurism spells couldn't penetrate the island above the keep, so I've been awaiting your return with bated breath.
I'm sorry, Duchess, it's not good news. She is suddenly deathly still.
Was she not there?
I have her hand, nothing more. You present the hand to the Duchess. A beaming smile spreads across the Duchess's face.
Ah, my Ellen, you are returned to me at last.
The Duchess tenderly presses the hand against her face. Ellen's hand seems to respond in kind, relaxing and stroking her mother's cheek. Where's the rest of your daughter?
The rest of her was lost many centuries ago. Where? I cannot say. But it is not an uncommon fate for my kind. It is very hard to truly kill an endless, but that does not mean our bodies can't be broken, severed, separated. Many of my kind rest not in peace, but in pieces, scattered around the realm like fallen leaves.
This is why I don't think the... I'm forgetting... Was it the Silver Queen's the one who's still around. The Entombed one... It's another name for the Entombed one, I think. I don't know. The Entombed one... Ghost. Her plan to shake the island to pieces. That's why I don't think that would actually help. If Ellen is able to maintain, you know, some form of consciousness as just a hand, then, like, even if all of them are reduced to dust, are they really... I guess there is some permanent death because we see that statue dedicated to the fallen of the Cadaver Crusades, so... I don't know.
I lost Ellen to this abhorrent fate some 300 years ago.
She touches the hand gently.
I have long accepted that I will never see her face again.
There's some fun foreshadowing in the first conversation where she's like talking about how she likes feeling her daughter's hand in hers and that's what keeps her sane. That's touching. She sighs.
It is, of course, not a fate I would have chosen for my daughter. I wonder if it would be kinder for her to be truly at peace.
She is silent a moment.
Thank you, mortal, for returning my daughter to me. I hope the whole ordeal wasn't too troublesome.
No, I was able to run past all the trouble. It was fine. Well, I did lose a finger. That is true. She smiles.
I noticed, mortal. But nothing a little cipher can't fix. Here, hold out your hand.
The Duchess utters some harsh-sounding consonants, and her voice seems to suck the warmth from the air. For a moment, your hand seems to burn with an unbearable heat. But then when you look down at it, your missing digit has been replaced with a spectral finger. It glows and shimmers with unnatural color, but is firm to the touch.
There we are, mortal. You may even find this to be an improvement. Few can match my skill with cipher facsimiles. And now, I will honor my side of the bargain. When I delved into your mind, I saw that you have captured the blinding light, correct? I will make my way there, so we can plan our next move.
She strokes Ellen's hand.
Though, if Vela's plan comes to fruition, I am still not decided on where my allegiances lie.
With Vela, you could grant the Endless a true death. She strokes her daughter's hand.
Perhaps you are right. Perhaps my kind has lingered in wretchedness for too long.
She closes her eyes.
This is no life. We are but ghosts who cling to fading dreams. I do not wish this for my daughter. You have given me much to think about, mortal, but for now you should take your leave. I will meet you at the blinding light.
That's all three of them. As I said, there's still stuff to do in the Endless Realm. I don't think we shall do it on the stream. Let's see. Quill, here we are. Actually, no. Let's do one other thing around here. It's a little bit closer. The game sort of stuttered on me and almost sent me plummeting to my death. This is the thing. So there's 3 of these tombs here. And this is where a lot of the treasure is in the Endless Realm. Or, well, I don't know about a lot, but at least some of it. Maybe there's just 2 things. Astute viewers might have remembered, might have seen the whole thing about the finger, and then also remembered the, what was it called, the cranial thing. What is it? I mean, I guess that is that. Cranial moderator, there it is. Cranial moderator, we had to alter our body to deal with the Clockwork King. And then, that wasn't the main quest, that wasn't finding Caxton, but still, and then in this one, we lose our finger and get a ghost finger, so a lot of having to permanently alter our bodies to advance our quest here. Although again, with regards to the Clockwork King, it's possible to just not want to do it, even though that quest was fucking cool, so you should. This urn is deathly cold to touch. It's sealed tight. An inscription reads, "Here are the ashes of untold numbers of Endless, who were burned by the living in the years of devouring. May the gods have mercy on us all." So theoretically... Actually, no, this is, yeah, because I remember, so the urns are for, maybe we can do the Dragon Quest. Basically, yeah, so the dragon that you may have noticed flying around, wants to collect these urns. And I think it may be... Yeah, it does imply that the urns, the people, like the Endless in the urns are still conscious in some respect. So yeah. Again, Entombed 1, your plan sucks. part of why the whole like, oh, you know, killed people, blah 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 thing. Part of why I think it, you know, what they were trying to go for with that is that, you know, because you don't level up from killing people, you really aren't incentivized to kill in the same way that you are in other games. So, you know, pacifist run is possible in this game, at least for the most part. There might be one thing that you have no choice but to kill. But I don't know if that even counts. Where did... There we go. It might not count towards the total, but I don't know if spider trains count. Oh, hi there. It's a lot of people. Oh. Alright, come on. Enemies still do attack you, and running past them doesn't seem like the intended solution. I mean, maybe it doesn't seem that way, but it is entirely within the realm of possibility. I'm not being very stealthy, but stealth is technically a mechanic. Urn of Anguish. Yeah. Ah. Great sword. Should I desire it? I think the... Is the great sword the one, or maybe all? I'm trying to think back, because I think the great sword can turn into a gun rifle. Or, sorry, gun is a rifle. The great sword can turn into a rifle sword. Which is pretty sick. I think all of them, because basically each weapon gets like a final upgrade based on different zones, and that's the Clockwork Kingdom upgrade, is to be a gun. One of them is about magic stuff. I forget exactly, but I think I'm trying to remember if it's like the great sword can become like a rifle blade. I think the knife or the sword I'm wielding now can become a pistol sword. I think. Hi. Excuse me, just a moment. An unseen device. Okay, so is there a thing? There is, right here. Thank you kindly. All right. Hello. Kingdom Come Deliverance suffers from a similar problem where pacifist run requires either hoping that NPCs do killing for you or stabbing enemies with poison blade and waiting for poison to kill them. Hold on. Well, okay, hold on. So in Kingdom Come Deliverance, I haven't played it. I actually do own it, but I have not played it. So poison doesn't count as killing in that game? That seems like a dumb loophole. Tremulok, greetings. Sorry, wrong game. The great creature looms overhead, engulfing you in blasts of putrid, warm breath. Though the creature's mouth does not move, a voice creeps through your mind like a choir of whispers, somehow deafening in their unison. You are fortunate, morsel. You are tasteless. This worm has no interest in your flesh. Am I speaking to a worm? A pertinent question with no easy answer. We are a symbiosis of sorts. We are a collective of thoughts,
trapped within the mind of this worm. We are endless, a lingering echo of this worm's victims, devoured from within our crypts. It is rare to speak with a morsel such as yourself. We have waited a long time for such an opportunity. Will you help us with a certain matter?
Not without knowing what it is.
Let us explain. We share a body with this worm, but we do not share its hunger. We are, after all, a remnant of its victims, and its feasts do not bring us pleasure. We are powerless to stop the worm ourselves, as we can exert only a limited influence on its body, but there may be a way to pacify this creature for a time. We would simply need a delivery.
A delivery of what?
We require the urns of anguish, sealed deep within the mausoleums. They contain the cremated remains of many endless, who long ago burned by the living. A cruel fate, as their consciousness lingers.
Yes, okay, yeah, so I was remembering right.
But with no body to provide sensation, the endless trapped in those urns exist in a perpetual darkness. So if they were to join us, it would perhaps be a better fate. The sealed urns have yet escaped the worm's nose, but the ashes are of such magical potency, we are sure they would satiate the worm, and the mausoleums would be left in peace. Bring us 3 urns of anguish, and you would have our gratitude. 2 reside in the mausoleums, a 3rd is elsewhere, we know not where.
Alright, I'll keep an eye out. And I've already got 2 of them. Poison is probably not intended workaround by developers, but as long as you don't land killing blow, your kill count doesn't increase. That is a wanky workaround if I've ever heard one. No self-respecting pacifist would do that. I didn't kill them, the poison did. Yeah, a friend of mine got me Kingdom Come Deliverance a while ago, and I just have not started it. Partly because I don't know how much I'd really enjoy it. Like, the hardcore, like, you know, historical, like, you know, let's make the combat really finicky stuff that I heard about. Doesn't seem that fun. I mean, you know, this probably more mechanically interesting than this game's combat, but still. And also, I just don't feel as much of a draw towards, like, pure history as much as I do to fantasy, if that makes sense. So it's like I am more interested in, like, you know, this game or like a Witcher or, you know, or insert any other fantasy RPG here, than I am in like a medieval historical thing. Like, medieval fantasy is fun. Just personal preference. So I haven't been that interested, but I'll play it eventually. The game does have several required battles for main character to fight, so you have to deal with it in some way. Well, use the good old fisticuffs. Non-lethal knocking someone out for an indefinite period of time, which is totally not... No, you can't come in. Go away. Who are you? My name is Mygar. I don't care who you are. Get your own crypt. I paid for this one fair and square. Let me in, Mygar, please. It just needed to ask nicely. It did say 60, charm of 60, so I guess I asked extremely nicely. There's a long pause on the other side of the door, then a sigh. Fine. You hear the sound of a bolt being drawn back. The door swings open. Uh-huh. This is quite clearly not a normal Endless. This Mygar is a ghost, and the original Mygar who was locked here is nowhere to be seen. What are you looking at, mortal? You're a ghost. What? Poppycock, I'm flesh and blood, just like you. To demonstrate his point, he waves an arm at you. It passes right through you. He smirks at you, apparently believing he's proved his point. I think you were eaten by a catacomb worm. When you say this, the ghost's eyes go blank. He stares into the distance for a long moment, then jumps back with a shriek. He backs away, staring up at a memory that only he can see. No, please, ferryman, save me, no! He curls up into a ball, sobbing, and won't say anything else. Hello? The ghost's eyes go blank. He stares into the distance for a long moment, then jumps back with a shriek. He backs away, staring up at a memory that only he can see. Okay, same. Once again, he curls up into a ball, sobbing. How many times has he relived this moment? Well, we just gave a ghost an existential crisis. That's all in a day's work. If I do say so myself. Yeah, I mean, that whole, you know, how many times he relived this thing. Presumably, that's meant to assuage our guilt a little bit. Say, oh, he has those crises even without you coming in to cause it. Alright, what do we got here? Ring of Potency. Potency of Potions. Never used it. Alright, this is just another way in if you don't have the charm. But obviously, I have both. Where's the other one? It's funny because I was like, oh, I'll probably build a little bit differently for the stream playthrough. And the only difference is that I have focused a little bit more on agility, on guile, than I have on magic this time around. But otherwise, might is still the dump stat. KCD's comment being hard is overstated. It's mostly about difficulty curve from starting his character with no common experience and increasing skill over time. That's fair. Gothic and later Piranha Bytes games work in a similar way. Yeah, yeah, fair enough. I mean, that's also how Deus Ex does it, and that game's good. I like that game. So, yeah. Again, I'll give it a shot at some point. I feel like it's one of those back burner games where it's just like, oh, I will play it, but I keep getting new stuff that excites me more, so I play that first. Because I think when I was initially thinking about like when I would play what, I think I was expecting to play it in the spring, but then I did my Divinity replay for my essay, and so then I just didn't. Let's see, surely I've gotten all the landmarks for you. The scholar has one eye pressed to her looking glass, her face crumpled into a grimace. What a wretched place, eh? Even the trees barely cling to life. I cannot fathom why I was sent here of all places to make this damned map. Why must we chart these isles? Does the Academy plan to start grave digging? There's naught else to do. I have cipher charts to hand in. Yeah, excellent. Yes, these will do nicely. The detail here is impressive for one of your limited experience. Please, take this in recompense. I mean, I feel like it's good to have maps of places, though, you know? Do you disagree? Do you, representative of the cartographer? Well, okay, Academy. So I guess it's not cartographers exclusively. Yeah. Right, yes, dragon. Or worm. Wonder if there's got to be like in Old English like the pronunciation's more like Wyrm or something like that, just to differentiate between, you know, the dragon and an earthworm. Imagine Imagine some, like, you know, someone in fantasy where, you know, dragon worms are super prominent. I think in this Pillar, no, I think Pillars does Drake. I don't know if Aora uses worms, but as like a name, but you know, a world with a fantasy world with reincarnation and worms, and it's like, all right, for your next life, you're going to be a worm, and someone's like, oh hell yes, I'm gonna be a big dragon, and they're just a fucking earthworm.
Greetings, O tasteless morsel. We are pleased to find that you smell disgusting.
I have the urns you wanted.
Yes, the beast can smell them. Its hunger grows. For your own sake, morsel, drop them where you stand, lest you be devoured.
You drop the urns just before the worm's massive jaws and close them in a single terrible motion. For a moment the creature is deadly still, then a great spasm moves through its body.
Such potency, such dreadful flavor. The worm is overwhelmed, morsel. We can already feel our ancient allies joining us. Please take this.
The worm convulses, and with a horrible sound, it coughs up a treasure chest encased in a huge amount of phlegm.
We bid you farewell, morsel. The worm is overcome with a great energy. It will fly, and then it will sleep.
There's worms and pillars? Okay, I had forgotten. And to think I, the greatest Pillars fanboy, forgot that some of the dragons were called worms. I remembered that, like, the small ones were called drakes, and then I guess I forgot the middle one. If I had a Pillars fan card, I would have to turn it in out of shame. Okay. Let's see here. Where's the exit to this place? Okay. We're gonna go talk to the ghost. The ghost who's been showing up in each of the zones. And we're gonna do her quest, learning all about Vela's past. Yeah, there we are. Yeah, you. Just talking about you.
I have no doubt that, after enough time, we'd all beg for nothingness.
Is that in response to the entombed one, or? I assume so. That's all you gotta say? Yeah, alright. Welcome back to Hallowshire. Let's see, where is the... Let's see here. Whispers of Ghosts, northeastern edge of Hallowshire. Okay. Yeah, it's gotta be that. Here we go! That was not a good Sonic voice. I know I can do better. I've done better. I think my voice is just in sort of rasp mode too much because of all the whispering zombies I've been doing voices for. Hello, fellow outlaw. Thanks for letting me through. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is around here. It's not that. I think I spoke to you before. Okay. I'm actually surprised that didn't hurt. Maybe there is fall damage in this game, but maybe the threshold for that is more generous than I had remembered. Yeah, that's it. So where's the bridge? Whoa. What's going on? Okay. Yeah, alright. Okay, yeah, we did do the castle, but not all of the castle. Or not the bit of the castle with the thing. We're not gonna do that bit, actually, I don't think. Alright. Okay, yeah. Whoop. Excuse me. Die. Alright. Are you ready for traumatic backstory?
For many years this manor gleamed with opulence. Wiccan blood paid for its walls, and the spoils of battle filled its rooms, as it belonged to Admiral Colosse, who rose to prominence in the God War. Yet happiness bloomed here. With her sister Isabet, Vela's formative years were joyful, as they played under the watchful eye of their mother. But how folly is to assume our privilege, once attained, will endure. A single spilled candle can raze a timber-built town to the ground. Something similar happened here.
That's tragic.
For Vela, her world came crashing down. In later life, she would recognize the price others paid for her privilege, but to that child, she had simply lost her home, her family. Vela and her father were away when the manor was ablaze, but Vela's sister Isabet and their mother were burned alive. Isabet was a prodigy. From a young age, Vela and Isabet would stow away to explore Emberian ruins, much to their father's ire. Isabet could pull apart that ancient wreckage and put it back together, working as if it were new. Had Isabet lived, she would have thrived. I can see her now as one of the most respected archaeologists of the Sky Realms. Vela never recovered from Isabet's death. In every arcane tome, every forbidden volume, Vela would search for some way to bring Isabet back. But though the Sky Realm teems with
The Sky Realms teems with creatures who make a mockery of life, myself included. Vela never found an answer. For the grammar of cipher magic contains strict rules. The mortal principle, long studied but little understood, prevents a body from being revived. People can be plucked from the jaws of death, or their lives extended unnaturally, but for the charred remains of Isabet, nothing can be done. So what I was saying before about, like, is in-universe revival, it's not actually, it's not that, it's, you're plucked from the jaws of death, I think, is the version that, sort of the in-universe revival. Not even gods can violate the mortal principle. Could Isabet be revived as an Endless?
The ritual that created the Endless has been repeated on rare occasions, but it requires a living subject. The same applies for ghosts like myself. We are imprints of trauma, an echo of a mind created in a single terrifying moment, but without a living body, not possible.
Couldn't a god revive her?
Vela thought as much. She even went as far to capture one, imprisoning the poor thing with chains of void steel in the blinding light.
And that's the thing that revives us, or, you know, quote unquote, revives us when we die in this game. As saying right here,
but its powers, though incredible, were limited. You could only save a single living soul from near death. Were you to give it a corpse, it could not create life from nothing.
So this is the thorn in Vela's heart. She nods slowly.
I think it was Isabet's loss that drove Vela to quit the Union Navy. With her father an admiral, she could have risen to the very top, but she just didn't see the point of it. So she took her father's dream and inverted it. The Dark Stars were born, its black star motif a cynical mockery of the symbol of the apostatic union.
She smiles.
But we've had enough storytelling for one day, eh? There is an island with an airship cove on the western edge of the Endless Realm. Meet me there when you're ready, and I'll continue my tale.
Sure thing. Okay, Western Edge. Hello there. After a long and wearisome journey, I'm finally here, the ancient kingdom of Verdant, now twisted by cruel cipher into a land of the endless. But it seems as though the rumors are true. They really do shut up shop when the Neuron star is brightest in the sky. Alas, I was hoping to get a potion of blister obliteration. My feet are killing me. Yeah, so in the Endless Realm, rather than shops closing up at night, they close up at midday. Yeah, let's rest. Just to refresh ourselves. And then Western Edge is that way? That way. Where? Okay. It's that, I believe. So actually it should be this way. Yes, there it is. Pardon me. Lovely day we're having, isn't it? Yeah! Is what he says. I thought the ghosts inside the worm were saying it was gonna go to sleep. Staying up way past its bedtime. Or maybe they just meant it's gonna fly for the rest of the game and then go to sleep. Or like it's gonna burn its energy flying. So it's totally sleeping, you just won't see it.
This is where it all started, the mercenary outfit known as the Dark Stars.
Vela, Jack Basalt, and Orlaith. Orlaith being the Ambarian. Just the three of them in a cave with a rickety sloop, barely skyworthy. On one of their first jobs they found me, or rather the real me before I looked like a rubbish painting. She grins. The three of them damn near killed me. So wait, you fought Vela? That's right, stranger. They'd been hired by a Riovan noble to round up Wiccans in Hallowshire, back before the Union was here in full force. I think in a previous stream someone predicted this ghost was Vela. Evidently, that is not the case. So I woke up one morning with Orlaith's sword at my throat, in her full Ambarian armor. It was quite the shock, though not as much of the shock I gave her. A bolt of pure electricity surging through all that metal. And so we fought, me and my godlet versus the three of them. I almost escaped, but seeing Vela fight is something else. Usually I can scry what someone plans to do, but Vela's thoughts are bristling with possibilities. Before I knew it, she was behind me with a dagger to my neck. It was nothing personnel. I thought I was dead, but she simply asked, "How would you like to be a merc?" And so they brought me back here to their hideout, and 3 became 4. You have to understand, stranger, I'd spent my youth cowering from the Union and their agents. My parents taught me all I know of Wiccan magic, and how to hear the language of cipher in all things, but when my parents vanished, I was left with no one. When I told Vela my story, she wept and embraced me. It had been a long time since I'd felt the touch of another person, and looking into her eyes was like staring into the void. Normally, stranger, I can read people, catch a glimpse of what's to come, but Vela, her future was a tangle of infinite possibility. She was unreadable. It was intoxicating. Those first few years with the Dark Stars was the first time I felt like I belonged somewhere. My comrades didn't fear my cipher, they relied on it. You never mentioned you were a Dark Star. She smirks. That wouldn't be very mysterious of me now, would it? I have a certain reputation to uphold, being a ghost and all. Besides, as far as I'm concerned, the Dark Star Company that I knew is gone. In those early days of the Dark Stars, Vela took contracts from anyone, the Union, the Wiccans, even outlaws. But it was about the cause, not the coin. She couldn't stand the thought of being like her father, whose military campaigns had wrought so much upheaval. So if a contract smelled fishy, we turned it down and went hungry. We didn't mind. But when we took a job, nothing could stop us. It wasn't long before our numbers swelled and we outgrew this tiny cave. Soon enough, everyone from the lowest ruffian to the loftiest noble knew of the Dark Stars. What made people want to follow Vela? Vela cajoled us all with intoxicating dreams. We weren't just going to get rich, we were going to build something that neither the Union nor the Wiccans had. A place free from gods or masters. A paradise. A heaven. Those times were the happiest of my life. We fought together, drank and danced together, dreamed together. But it was not to last. So what went wrong? To pay the new recruits, Vela had to be less scrupulous with her contracts. I clashed with her at times. When she slew the minor god Cernun, I flew into a rage. I never wanted the blood of a god on my hands. But it was when she found that damned Ambarian key that things really got out of hand. There's an island drifting to the northwest of the Clockwork Kingdom that contains the wreckage of the Black Goblin airship. Meet me there, and I will finish this story. Alright, what was that? Okay. It's a bomb. Oh my god, JC, a bomb.
A bomb.
Actually, no, it's a shorter line delivery than that, isn't it? It's just a bomb. There we go. You should know that. Okay. We're gonna go... Where are we gonna go? Well, yeah, I'll just go to the Clockwork Kingdom. I was thinking of hitting a save point somewhere else just so I could warp to it faster, but Alright, and back here. What did she say? Northwest? There, yes, it's there. If I'm wrong about that, you were allowed to make fun of me precisely once. I am not wrong about it. Who's this? Hi. She raises her eyebrows as if something about you has caught her attention. Welcome, cousin. It's a pleasure to meet you. You came here to buy spells, I presume? I can tell you're not with the king, so I don't mind doing business. He can't hear us here. They think they can stop me selling magic. Imagine, me of all people. I'm older than the king, and I'm better at magic, too. Yes, I'd like to do business. So what'll it be? Let's trade. Yes, let's. I'm very proud of my selection. Not... Okay, Fireball. Pretty good. Pretty good. Pretty good. Pretty good. Oh, I can't sell my treasure to you? Okay. May I ask a question? A question? Of course, cousin, I don't mind. This building is enchanted, so we can speak freely here. Who are you? I am a high sage, the last of a long line of heredity. My father sat council with the highest leaders of old Cordova, but perhaps I'm revealing my age a bit too much. Was that all you wanted to know? What is your name? I have no name. My father was the same, and his mother before. The second-born was always the successor. Without a name, I can't be written into runes, and as a result, I'm immune to a great many curses and spells, particularly cipher magic. So unlike most idiots on this island, my memories have never been fucked with. I can tell if someone has had their memories forgotten, you know? That's why I took an interest in you. Was that all you wanted to know? What is the Clockwork King? The king? I suppose you could think of him like a sort of cluster of powerful curses and seals. That kind of magic used to be banned back when this land was known as Cordova. Is that all you wanted to know? Tell me of old Cordova. Ah, the stories I could tell of this land as it was in my youth, I don't know where to begin. The entire landscape changed after that accursed city dropped anchor, even the weather. Things were slower back then. Whenever there was a shortage of food, families would band together to produce the necessary offering to the Mother Goddess. Everyone knew each other. I guess that's all I needed to know. This is, be safe, cousin. Not sure why you call me cousin. There's so much that interests me about you, and I believe there's no quest related to her, which is quite wild. She's just there. Alright, tell me the end of your story, Ghost.
This pile of junk was once the most fearsome pirate ship of the Sky Realms, the Black Goblin. Merchants from Puria to Al-Asfra feared its volley of cipher-inscribed cannonballs. The Union Navy paid us a fortune to headhunt its captain. In the end, we got the coin and the ship. Few dared cross the dark stars after that.
How did you win the ship battle?
We were going up against a galleon with a tiny schooner. We had 2 guns, they had 20 per side. By anyone's measure, it was pure suicide. But I've always had a certain knack for foresight. I knew they would commit their starboard, so we had the better of them. Before they knew it, we had one of our guns pointing straight at their rear, but this was not any old gun. It was one of Caxton Frost's cannons. A single blast from that thing tore straight through the whole ship, setting it ablaze. In the confusion, our boarding party was on deck. We were 8 against 100, but with a few words from the Duchess, they found their swords to be awfully heavy. Orlaith cut through swaths of them, carving a path to their captain. By the time Vela had her sword to his neck, he had soiled himself. The ship was ours, and that night we got so plastered from their stores of rum, I accidentally exploded a silk slug. That poor thing.
So what went wrong?
After the Black Goblin came the Blinding Light. A mercenary company with a galleon is impressive, but with a god-war fortress, none could best us. But it was around then that Vela and Orlaith stumbled upon a map deep in some Emberian ruin. It told of the cradle, buried far below in the Underlands, which held the power to change everything. Vela was always ambitious. We thought she really could build her fantasy, a heaven of her own making, but now she was speaking of something else entirely. She wanted to become a god, to change the very fabric of reality.
But why? To what end? To resurrect her sister, maybe?
She claims that she would right all the world's wrongs, balance the scales, so the common folk can live like nobles and rulers no longer lust for war.
So what happened next?
The crew was split. Some were eager to follow her to the Underlands, especially if it could make them even more rich. But many of us thought she had crossed into madness. Her fame had twisted to infamy, and even the Inquisition now considered us criminals. From infancy I had learned to listen to the language of the cosmos. Cipher flows through all things. Its grammar and syntax weave through our bodies and dreams alike. To change those rules, for me, would be a bigger heresy than slaying 1,000 gods. So when Orlaith raised her sword against Vela and stirred the crew of the Black Goblin to mutiny, I was willing to spill my own blood for the cause. And spill it I would.
Is there even anything in there besides that potion? Surely there is.
In truth, I knew the Black Goblin stood no chance against a god-war fortress. The Blinding Light's guns tore through our hull in moments, leaving us sinking towards the clouds. Through the smoke and the chaos, I saw Vela board our ship. She was furious. Her and Orlaith were like sisters. She couldn't take the betrayal. Through the haze of battle, I saw their blades clash, and I saw Orlaith, her defense broken, hurled from the side of the ship. And then a crash like I've never felt before. The ship had run aground. When I came to, in this very spot, Vela stood overhead, staring right at me. I was bloody, wounded, but Vela just turned and walked away. It was at that moment I was born, this spectral echo of my former self. I tried to scream, I tried to cry, but I had not yet learned how to coalesce into a body, a shape. So I watched my corporeal body, my former self, lie there, barely clinging to life. I watched the Inquisition agents arrive, and I saw her scream as they dragged her away.
I watched as they threw her in a cell, and their instruments of agony tore into her flesh. I watched as her will broke, and she spilled every secret she knew. I watched as they destroyed her. Does this mean another version of you still lives? She grins. Of course, stranger. It's only in those old fairy tales of the Middle Ages that one has to die to become a ghost. In fact, you're well acquainted with my corporeal self. She winks. I'm sure you can figure out who. So is it revenge you're after? When I saw Vela standing over me in that moment of my creation, it was not hatred I felt. It was heartbreak. For I loved her, stranger. I loved her dearly, and suddenly I saw all those possible futures I had scried, all those joyous fantasies, just melt away. The Vela I saw was the Vela I had always feared. So no, stranger, I seek no revenge. I hold no hatred in my heart, if I can be said to have one at all. She closes her eyes. I just want this all to stop. I want to see her smile again. I'm so sorry. Spare no tears for me, stranger. I have long abandoned self-pity. Thanks for the story. I'm glad you listened, stranger. Soon enough you'll face Vela again, and now you may have one single advantage over her. You may understand her. Let's see. Do I want... Let's see, I have a potion of luck somewhere, I think. Truth potion, elixir of luck, boosting attributes for a limited time, okay. Yeah, sure, why not? Okay. A potion and a bomb, not much in the way of useful stuff. I mean, bombs probably useful. I just always forget that they exist. All right, let us return to the fortress. Been a while. Yeah, so what that sort of that like kind of noise, that's not really what that sounds like, but I'm not sure what exactly that is. I guess it's just the mushrooms shaking or something is what it's supposed to be, because it only really happens in this area. Mollusk is too far away for it to be that. Hello, Confessor, I know your truth.
Haven't you been busy? All of the former dark stars have returned.
She cackles and coughs.
Just like old times. Together we've conceived a plan. According to Orlaith, Vela has fled to the Underlands, and what's more, she knows where. You will take these dark star criminals as your companions. You will pursue Vela. You will not fail.
I'll not go to the Underlands, that's a death sentence. She jabs a mechanical limb in your direction.
And so what if it is? Must I remind you that you're still my prisoner? You and I have explored these islands as penance for your crimes, and if I send you to your certain demise, you will do so gladly.
What's down there exactly?
Centuries ago, the Emberids built an empire of metal and magic in defiance of the gods. It stretched across the world's surface, and humanity prospered. She spits the word. But 400 years ago, the world ran blasted that empire to dust. Only the sky realms survived. All that's left down there are cursed ruins, haunted by ghosts and patrolled by mechanical horrors. The very air is poisoned with a thick miasma. Traversing that place will be difficult. But I have the utmost faith that you will die nobly for our cause. You may even succeed.
Okay, so how will we do it?
Caxton Frost has finished repairing the blinding light. We can launch a small cutter airship on an expedition to the Underlands. But first, I will let you do the honors of activating the blinding light. Go to the main control panel and set the alert for battle stations.
I believe that is, that's that. Real quickly, got anything new to say? Greetings, Confessor. Have you stopped by for a little chat? How delightful. About the mission? Okay. Nothing new. All of our, here we go. All of our recruits are around here. Vela's old people. I forget exactly. Maybe they. Let's see. Yeah, so here's Caxton. He nods. Confessor, what can I do for you? How are you settling in? Ah, the blinding light. I remember when we captured this place from its Union caretakers, back when we thought we could get away with anything. Can I ask you about something? What might that be? About the dark stars I'm looking for. Right, you want to hear some more info? I think I asked about these already. About your past. Dredging that up, are we? Tell me about your time as a captain. For a time, I was the most respected captain in the Union Navy. I took orders directly from Admiral Kalos, Vela's father, and for 5 years I trained Vela aboard my ship. When Vela defied her father and fled to become a mercenary, I followed. I gave up my rank, my station, my ship, to spend my years cavorting with Wiccans and pirates. Shame of the Union Navy, they branded me. Tell me of the Dark Star Mutiny. A few years back, Vela found a map that pointed to something impossible. She'd use it to make a heaven of the sky realm, she said. Change the fabric of reality so folk don't know poverty or injustice or even death. I'm sure she believes it still. But for a lot of us Dark Stars, it scared us witless. You just don't go meddling with things like that unless you want to die screaming. We tried to convince her, to make her see reason, but she took us down into the Underlands anyway on that mad pursuit. So we mutinied. The Dark Stars spilled their own blood in those skyships. In the end, Vela escaped with those loyal to her, and the rest of us scattered to lick our wounds. A wicked time, that was. That's all about Vela. So you trained Vela? Aye, Vela and the Emberian. Though they'd been schooled at the academy, their father wanted them to sling their hammocks and tie their knots like regular sea dogs. And so they did, through blizzards, cipher storms, and cannon volleys. Those sisters thrived until the Deshawn massacre. He thumbs the rim of his drink. I won't speak of that here. What drink? Maybe we did see this before when we first recruited him. That was the day Vela decided to leave the Navy and her father. That was the day we became mercenaries. That's all. I'll get going. Hello, Emberian. Oh, your helmet's off. Ah, the blinding light. You know, I thought I'd never see this place again. How are you settling in? Makes my skin crawl seeing Inquisition agents scurrying around. Keep thinking they're gonna grab me and throw me in a cell. But if siding with this lot is the only way to get to Vela, I suppose I'll have to get used to it. I wanted to ask you something. I'll oblige. About the task at hand. I hear you're gathering a bunch of former Dark Stars, right? Well, I'll help you the best I can. Okay, well. We already did this. That sure is a big suit of armor. Ha, this old thing? She raises an arm. As the armor plates clink and shift, you notice intricate mechanisms moving beneath. Yeah, they don't make them like this anymore. The Emberians would inscribe their metal with cipher, too intricate to see with the naked eye, but it makes the stuff stronger than it has any right to be. In the early days, we'd raid Emberian ruins, often just Vela and me. A lot of them were already cleared out by raiders, or so you'd think, but I somehow knew there were things still hidden. A lever there, a switch here, a few taps on a keypad. Folk often wondered how we'd scored such big hauls. Used to say we were lucky or using forbidden Wiccan charms or something. She shrugs. Suppose there's some good things about being born from a tube. About your past, she says nothing. So you were really found in an Emberian vat. That's what I said, didn't I? Vela found me in a vat of liquid in some Emberian ruin back when we were children. There was no clue who I was or how long I'd been there, save for a metal plaque that read Orlaith. So that's what they called me. I awoke with a head full of knowledge. How to speak Old Emberian, how to fight, how to use ancient useless machines. But I didn't have any memories of my own, just faded dreams of sparkling cities. Vela's father was furious with her, of course, for sneaking off into ruins by herself. He threw Vela in the brig along with me. She smiles. Not that Vela cared. She was so excited. Her very own Emberian friend. You said Vela was like a sister to you. After she found me, Vela eventually convinced her father to adopt me. Of course, she had me stay with the servants, but it was better than being pawned off to the erudite academy as some curiosity. And he gave me an education, just like his daughter. When we weren't studying, we played all over the manor. It was huge, but back then I thought everyone in the Sky Realms lived like kings. Vela's father was an admiral in the Apostatic Union Navy, you see, and when we were ready, he had Vela groomed for command. We served on the same Navy ship with Captain Basalt, though my hammock swung with the deckhands. She sighs. That's when I saw the Sky Realms for what they truly were. And then, there was the Deshawn massacre. That was the day that Isabet died. Something snapped in Vela that day. She could no longer trust the Union, or her father, so she resolved to leave. We stowed away as deserters, but at the last moment, Captain Basalt himself caught us. I thought we were done for, that we'd be thrown in some dungeon to rot, but Basalt? I think he was as shaken as us. He took the rudder without a word, and we all left together. I suppose the Dark Stars were born that day. Tell me of your time as a Dark Star Merc. You know, a few years back, if you'd caught us at a tavern with bellies full of grog, we'd have sung you songs that would have made you laugh, and cry, and regurgitate your supper. But I ain't got the heart to sing 'em now. I've been sailing with Vela for years. Me, Vela, and Basalt. In the beginning it was just us, but by the end I couldn't keep count of our number. Vela always had a way with people, you know. There was this glint in her eye. She'd give you this thin smile and stare right at you, like she really knew you. She'd tell you exactly what you needed to hear. She smiles to herself. She had the whole company believing they were going to change the Sky Realms, make a difference, or at least get filthy rich trying. But sometimes I wonder if she even believed it herself. Most couldn't see it, but I could tell she was hurting. When we heard of the cradle, she latched onto it like it could fix that broken thing inside her. I just hope I did the right thing in trying to stop her, because gods know I still think of the people we lost in that mutiny. I wonder, I don't think Orlaith ever really talks about Isabet beyond that, which is a shame. I'd be very curious to know what their relationship was like, but I guess we just have to assume it's too painful for Orlaith to say anything. Draft, blast, sugar, blinking, blooming, flipping, fudge. Still having trouble cursing? Alas, I fear the muse of filth has forsaken me for good. But enough of that. Are you bothering me for a purpose, or do you truly value your time so cheaply as to spend it on this blooming chit-chat? I wanted to see how you're settling in. Oh, like a louse to an armpit. Who the fluff do you imagine restored this fortress in the first place? Given my abrupt departure from the Dark Stars, I suppose it's nice to be finishing the job. If only those dashed Union cretins would stop trying to assist me. As it happens, my father helped build these monsters back in the God War. The wooden parts are Lundalese, but the guns, plumbing, and nearly everything metal was made in Cordova. He used to put me to sleep by reciting components and assembly procedures. So this fortress was made in the Clockwork Kingdom? Correct, although back then it was called the Cardovan Republic. Somewhere in the guts of this thing there'll be a nameplate, laid down in such and such a year, Progress, Cordova, no gods, no masters. Funny how that one turned out. That explains a lot. Touché. Well, I'm glad you're feeling at home. Frost scowls. I wouldn't go that far. Would that be all? This clockwork exoskeleton is new. It helps you walk? My, how observant you are. In fact, ambulatory support is merely one of its functions. The first incarnation was rather less powerful, but to be fair, I was rather smaller. I expect you want the whole story? After all, it is so very inspirational. Please go on. I'll spare you the exhaustive history of my diverse ailments. Suffice it to say that I was a sickly child. The only thing my physicians agreed upon was that I must submit completely to their humiliating remedies, no matter how painful or ineffective. I disagreed, and in due course it proved that with a little technological cunning, I could treat myself better than they could. Machines, you see, actually listen to what one tells them. And don't tell this guy about Chat GPT hallucinations. How people loved to hear that tale once I grew up. The machinists loved it especially. Come to the Clockwork Kingdom, where even a low-born invalid can travel the skies and be garlanded as a champion of the realm. True, I was dogged and ingenious, but to what purpose? Yes, I improved my capabilities, but for whose benefit? Certainly I accomplished great things, but for whom? Myself? He sneers. What a cozy thought. Sometimes I almost wish I hadn't bothered. At least then I wouldn't have been so useful. I wanted to ask you about something. Let's see if you can come up with a question I haven't heard before. About your past. Must we? What was your life like before joining Vela? I was born and raised in Progress back when they still called it Istriksburg. My mother made ammunition while my father toiled in the fortress works. It was dangerous, but far better than serfdom in Lundell. For the first time in history, my family was wealthier than dirt. You hide your common origins very well. He smiles without mirth. Horace Metcalfe was hardly the first of my disguises. After the God War, I studied in Bion, a scholarship funded by the new Cordovan Republic. My Union classmates were scions of barons or wealthy merchants, and they tormented me frightfully, yet I was punished merely for setting them lightly on fire. There's no justice in this world. Indeed. Eventually, my studies were cut short by Cordova's split from the Union, and I returned home to begin my archaeological career. Believe it or not, in those days I was more like Horace Metcalfe than the ruthless mercenary now before you. Unquestionably, these were the best years of my life. I followed my curiosity to the edge of the sky and even to the Underlands, winning great renown and no small compensation, yet I always felt as if everything could be snatched away if I failed to deliver even once. Perhaps that is why I felt so much more at home among the outcasts, oddballs, and reprobates of the Darkstar Company. Tell me of your time as a Darkstar. Where does one even begin? We fought, we caroused, we feasted, we starved, we loved and we despised, we hurt each other, then we nursed each other. We were family with all the best and worst implied by such a word. The Caxton Frost who stands before you was a product of those days. He had to be sharp, ruthless, avenge every insult threefold lest others smell blood. I'm told I was actually the inspiration for the Caddish Rakehill stories, though I've never read them myself. Vela could tell it was a facade, but she was gracious or canny enough not to expose me in front of the crew. Except when she was truly angry. One minute she could make you feel like you were bathed in starlight, the next like the basest of worms. Did she ever suspect you were a spy? I've often wondered. Certainly our expeditions contributed much to the kingdom's progress. Sometimes I got the uncanny sense that she knew my real purpose, yet kept me around anyway. Why she would do so, I cannot say. Perhaps it was simply our shared fascination with the Emberians. She told me once that I reminded her of someone who had been dear to her long ago. I never did find out who, though. I actually don't know who, unless it's her dad. maybe, I don't know, maybe it is Isabet, actually, just because the ghost of the confessor um, mentioned that Isabet was a technological prodigy. So yeah, maybe it is Isabet, actually. How do you manage to maintain your persona? Frost snorts. Why, I've been doing that all my life. The only difference now is the extra pay. Actually, I have my suspicions that the Clockwork King may have helped. At the time, I had no idea its majesty could alter minds, but I do recall being surprised at how quickly I took to the role. Of course, I can prove nothing. Let me ask you about something else. Now, was that really your best attempt at an original question? I think you can do better. I still don't understand why you had to wipe your memory. Frost sighs. Frankly, I'm not completely sure myself, but consider what had led to that moment. 8 years undercover. Can you imagine what that's like? To be believable, you cannot merely pretend. One part of you must truly become the false self, while another watches from the outside, remembering your mission. I knew that if I betrayed the Clockwork King, it would never stop hunting me, yet I couldn't bear to live in deceit for one more day. Thus the inevitable conclusion, the best cover identity is one who doesn't even realize he's fake. Excuse me. I haven't decided whether I like being Frost again. He used to feel like armor, and now he feels confining. Still, he's indisputably the man for the job, and I must admit it's easier when I don't have to be two people at once. I'd like to ask you about another topic entirely. No further questions. No points for novelty, I'm afraid, but at least you tried. That's all. Good luck with the fortress. Just as you're turning away, there is an awkward cough. Actually, one moment, if you please. I wish to... That is, it behooves me... Dash it all, let's not prevaricate around the bush. You were quite correct to scold me back in the kingdom. The word for what I was doing is wallowing, specifically in childish rage and self-pity. He pauses, apparently unsure what to say next. Is thank you perhaps the phrase you're looking for? Confound it, what else would I be trying to say? Bog off before I regret such wasteful sentimentality. Yeah, no problem. Love you, Caxton. Okay, where's the Duchess at? Outside, maybe? Lift is not yet active. Yeah, okay, I think she's there. Yep, there she is. Ellen's hand gently moves as you approach. You think she looks content, though admittedly you know very little of sentient hands. Okay. So I can't just go and say hello to the trapped god that's inside there. I have to actually die in order to meet it. Or almost die, whatever. Alright. You gotta say, Duchess. Oh, wow. Full face reveal for the Duchess. It's terrifying.
It's good to be out in the sky realms again. One can get frightfully bored spending eternity in dusty old tombs.
How are you settling in?
I've just about finished transposing my collection of essential grimoires. Not a bad spot for them, eh? I must admit, it's exciting to see all these mortals scurrying around. There's an urgency to mortal life that's been lost to my kind. I realize now that since giving up this life, I've missed it.
I wanted to ask you something.
Go ahead, mortal.
How's your daughter? She smiles.
Doing just fine, thank you. The air is clearer here. She enjoys the breeze on her skin.
About your past.
There's quite a lot of it. What do you want to know?
Tell me of your time as a Darkstar Merc.
Well, I've spent most of my pitiful existence trying to avoid my duties as a Duchess. If you can, try to imagine 600 years of etiquette and droll ceremony. It's enough to drive anyone to madness. So I left my seat, my realm, my duties. I wandered the sky realms, drifting through places beyond my imagining, until I fell into the company of an ambitious young mortal called Vela.
A thin smile spreads across her lips.
You know, when I first joined them, I thought it would prove a trifling amusement to watch such an incongruous bunch of mortals get themselves killed. But oh, it turned out to be so much more. To be in the company of those dark stars was to be in the flow of constant change. No longer was I rotting in a tomb in adherence to tradition. Every day we sent ripples through the world.
She sighs.
And I even allowed myself to get swept up in her rhetoric, to believe there could be hope for myself and my kind. But like all mortal endeavors, it couldn't last. Vela's flame began to flicker. Her optimism gave way to fear and desperation. Eventually, Orlaith led the mutiny that tore the dark stars apart. Many of us scattered after that. Personally, I had no interest in loitering around the carcass of a once great thing, so I returned home to a more familiar pile of bones.
What caused so many dark stars to leave?
Well, it all started with that God-Killer contract. It was at the height of the Dark Star's infamy, when all of the Sky Realms seemed to whisper our names in hushed tones. We were contacted by a Riovan noble who wanted us to assassinate a major god. Vela was excited. Such a feat would cement our reputation, but not everyone was happy. The Wiccan, a senior Dark Star and a very close friend to Vela, saw this as a betrayal of her own kind. Vela argued that to be a Dark Star we had to leave our former allegiances behind. The new world we were carving had no space for those old and bitter ideologies, but for the Wiccan, killing that god was too much, too far. It was crossing a line. So when it came down to it, when we'd hunted that deity into a corner, and Vela was poised to make the killing blow, the Wiccan stood in her way. In anger, Vela cast her down. I watched the Wiccan fall from the ship, down below the clouds. And something changed at that moment. Vela was racked with a terrible guilt. She started taking more dangerous, more dubious jobs. And that's when her dreams became more radical. She set her sights on that Emberian artifact. That time it was Orlaith, or rather the Emberian, who took umbrage. She led so many of us to mutiny against Vela. If you want to know more about it, you should ask her.
Sorry, is my frame of did my timeline get messed up? We've heard all the stories so far. I thought the Black Goblin was part of Orlaith's fall of the Black Goblin and the Confessor being defeated, future Confessor, the Wiccan being defeated. I thought that was all part of Orlaith's rebellion, but the Duchess is having them be different. Maybe I misremembered. Tell me again about the Great Devouring.
635 years ago, the Endless were born from the hubris and folly of our king. His wretched spell twisted half of the realm into this accursed form. We were born anew, frenzied and hungry. So the realm of Verdant, for that is what it was called then, ate itself. Friends and family, who were dining merrily together in the morn, were eating each other by the eve. And my family was no different. I was 35 years of age when it happened. I had a husband, 5 beautiful children. You know the cruelest thing? There was a part of us that knew what was happening.
Okay, this we've heard before. Okay, that's all I wanted to know.
Was there anything else, mortal?
Nope, farewell. Vela's own grief over her sister helped to found and then tear apart the Dark Stars. It seems like the Dark Stars were sort of, her moving on, making new bonds, and enjoying the old bonds with Jack and with Orlaith, but But then once the promise of actually maybe altering reality to revive her sister comes about, wow. Alright. The blinding light flies once more. This is not the airship that you get, by the way. You don't fly this around. He nods. Okay.
Ah, do you feel that? The blinding light takes to the skies once again.
I'm trying to differentiate her voice from the Duchess's. I feel like I'm making them a bit too similar.
Do you feel that? The blinding light takes to the skies once again.
Yeah, just make her more pained. You never said this was an airship. She scoffs.
Have you not seen the grand painting, or its many reproductions? The blinding light impales a horror, or heard the numerous songs and stories, embellished as they may be. I cannot be blamed for your ignorance.
Can't we just fly this whole ship after Vela?
This flying fortress is too large to make the descent. The storms that permanently rage above the underlands would tear it to shreds. But we can launch a small cutter vessel with a reinforced hull that may survive the journey. The tribunal can monitor your progress from the safety of the skies.
So what next?
You and the former Dark Stars will assemble into a counter-warship strike force and pursue Vela. Your mission is as follows. You will make your way to the hangar of the blinding light, where there is a small cutter airship ready to descend to the underlands. Jack Basalt will pilot the craft while the Duchess's magic will shield it from the unrelenting chaos of the understorms. Caxton Frost will disarm whatever ancient security systems you find on the surface. Once you land, Orlaith will guide the way to the cradle. Exactly what the cradle is, we don't know, but Vela thinks it can rewrite the very fabric of reality. Needless to say, she must be stopped.
She pauses, a ghastly rattle from within her workings. Is it a sigh? She sounds almost moved.
Listen, Confessor, if it were up to me, we'd have a whole naval fleet hurtling down there, but the Union Navy doesn't want to hear it. They think this coffin they stuffed me in has clouded my reason.
It probably is a little bit harder to reason if you're, in an Iron Maiden that's constantly making you bleed.
I have the authority to send only the most expendable of my tribunal.
She points a mechanical limb in your direction.
But, loath as I am to admit it, you've proven yourself just as capable as any operative under my command. So it falls solely on your team to stop Vela at any cost. Remember that she meddles with forces beyond our comprehension and threatens the stability of not just the apathetic Union but the whole of the Sky Realms. Is your mission clear, Confessor 17?
All clear. I'm ready.
Good. Make your way to the hangar to depart.
Well. I actually am going to end here. And I'm going to end, at least unless there's enough demand from people, I'm going to end the streams of this game here. I think this is a pretty good... this is, for the record, the Underlands are not, like, the final dungeon. There is more. There's maybe a full third of the game left. And also, I didn't show every single side thing. I did show most of the side stuff in the Clockwork Kingdom, but there's one big thing in the Endless Realm, and the area quest for Hallowshire, a couple other small stuff. The Underlands is a pretty extensive sequence, but I do feel like that is a good spot to leave it off for anyone who has been watching these streams and is or their VODs and is interested in checking out the game for yourself. You know, it is up to you now. Hello, Platoon. You're starting a new game or no more stream? I will be streaming different stuff. I'll still be doing Jade Empire until I'm done with that. And I actually just received a code, a Steam key for the new game by these devs, I think because they saw that I was streaming this game. And it is called Entropy. It released in early access yesterday, and I figure I'll stream. I figure I will stream that just once, just to give a preview, and I've got a list of other things that I wanna cover. Oh no, player agency in you mean like for you guys, or? Crippling decision paralysis commences. Well, I believe you can overcome, Platui. Again, if there's demand for me to resume this playthrough, then you know, then I'll return to it at some point. But again, I feel like this is a good point to pique the interest of anyone else who wants to try for themselves. I mean, probably more than enough for that, honestly. Probably after the first stream or two, you know, you could do that. But yeah. Yeah, speaking of stuff I didn't do, there's the Erudite Academy. There's a whole quest there. So yeah. Anyway, I'll probably just show Entropy for one stream, just give it a try, and then I'll wait to actually play the rest of it on my own time when it's out of early access. And then after that, well, I've got, yeah, like I said, I've got a list. We'll see which one I pick. I figure Wednesdays, if I stick to the Wednesday, Saturday schedule I've been doing, Wednesdays are probably like smaller indie games, and Saturdays are for either higher profile indie games or just bigger games in general. So yeah, I have to pick from my list what I'll do after Entropy, but that's for 2 weeks from now, me's problem. Anyway. Yeah. To be continued by you, maybe. Or again, maybe by me if enough people demand it. Yeah. So, thanks to everyone who's been watching this playthrough, either live or on the VODs. Again, streams in general will continue as I have been doing it. Still Jade Empire Saturday. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Farewell.